Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has reiterated his government's consistent stance on Taiwan, stating that Australia supports the status quo and does not back any unilateral action regarding the self-governing island. Speaking in Shanghai, Albanese stressed that peace and security in the Indo-Pacific remain Australia's primary goals. His comments come as Washington reportedly pressures Canberra for clarity on its role if the US and China were to clash over Taiwan. Albanese was clear that Australia's position remains unchanged, emphasizing a stable, consistent approach to international relations. He also deflected questions about potential involvement in a conflict over Taiwan, particularly in regards to nuclear-powered submarines acquired under the AUKUS agreement. China's ambassador to Australia, Xiao Qian, was present during the remarks, and while trade and people-to-people ties were highlighted, the specter of rising regional military tensions hung over the discussions. Albanese rejected speculation about altering Australia's defense stance, focusing on stability and regional cooperation. Despite the discussions on defense spending, Albanese stressed that any decisions regarding military involvement would be made based on Australia's national interest and at the discretion of the government of the day. Let's listen into what Anthony Albanese has said.
I think it's important that we have a consistent position, which Australia has had for a long period of time. We support the status quo when it comes to Taiwan. We don't support any unilateral action there. We have a clear position, and we have been consistent about that. What's important when it comes to international relationships is that you have a stable, orderly, coherent position going forward. Australia does. We want peace and security in our region. We don't want any change to the status quo. That's Australia's position today. That was Australia's position last week. That's been a bipartisan position for a long period of time.
Thomas Portius will join us as anchor and correspondent at NewsX World. Thomas, what more can you tell us about this situation?
Well, yes, Asuma, this comes as the Australian Prime Minister visits Shanghai for a meeting with the Chinese president. The Chinese are Australia's biggest trading partner, and so this relationship is crucial to Canberra. However, while in China, as we've heard, Albanese has supported the status quo and the one China policy, meaning that it doesn't see Taiwan as an independent state, but does support the status quo, and meaning that there should be no military action here. Keeping a peaceful Indo-Pacific is Australia's priority. That's what the Prime Minister said. This comes as just a few years after the AUKUS partnership was made. That's the UK, the US, and Australia. It's a cooperative relationship and also a security pact. The US has been pressuring Australia that if China does come and invade Taiwan militarily, then the US wants to know that Australia will back them. Australia hasn't commented on this yet, and so rising tensions in the region and diplomatic developments remain sparse and unclear. However, as we said, tensions in the South China Sea are very much in conversation right now. And they're at a point where we don't know what's quite going to happen next, but we will bring you all the updates when we can.
Thank you, Thomas, for sharing that insight and the updates. Now we move on to our next news.